Well, hello, welcome again to our reading of the Greek New Testament, and we're reading the letter to the Galatians from Paul, and we're up to chapter 5. Now, in this particular edition, 5 verse 1 has been linked back with the previous chapter, and then we have a kind of new section starting at verse 2, but we're reading it chapter by chapter, so I'll just start here. Te eleutheria hemas Christos eleutherosen, stekete un kai me palinsudo in ekeste. So we get this verb eleutheroo. It's an omicron contract verb connected with eleutheros, which is free, and eleutheria, which is freedom, all of these from the same root. So Christ has freed us, and then we get a dative here. It's probably for freedom with the dative here. Stekete is an interesting verb. The verb histemi is very irregular and quite a complicated verb, and in later Greek it's being regularized. You still get histemi in all its forms in the various forms in the New Testament, but you get this later verb steko, which is formed from the root of histemi. It's a different verb. It simply means to stand. So steko is the verb here, and this is an imperative. So stand therefore, and me palin, do not again. Enekeste is from en echo, probably passive here. Could be middle. So do not be subject to the yoke of douleia, of slavery. En echo is to be held in, to be held down by. So do not be held in the yoke of slavery. Ide ego Paulos lego humin hoti ean peritemnes the Christos humas uden ophelese. Ide is from imperative, really from the root of from adon, I saw. The root is id, and this is an aorist imperative here. It was used in earlier Greek. It's not really a Semitism. There happens to be a similar expression in Hebrew, to behold or look at something, but it's not. It's perfectly good Greek. So behold, I, Paul, a very emphatic ego lego, I say to you that if peritemnes there, this is from peritemno, and this is the, I think, the middle subjunctive. So I think it has the sense of if you, the peritemno is to circumcise. So if you circumcise yourself, because it's middle, if it could possibly, it could also have the sense of you allow someone else to circumcise you, or you allow yourself to be circumcised. You could translate the whole thing is if you undergo circumcision. Christ, now this is from ophelio, the epsilon's lengthened, it's an epsilon contract verb. Ophelio is to gain or profit or benefit. So Christ will benefit you, uden, in no respect. So it's an adverbial use of uden here. So we would say in English, Christ will be of no benefit to you. Just to paraphrase it. Greek says Christ will benefit you, uden, in respect of nothing. Marturumai de palimpanti anthropo peritem nomeno hoti opheletes estin holonton nomon poiesai. But I bear witness, palin again, to every man, well, perhaps undergoing circumcision. This is again this middle participle, allowing themselves to be circumcised. Perhaps undergoing circumcision might be vague enough here. That now the opheletes this is a first declension masculine noun, like mathetes, disciple. First declension masculine. There is a verb ophelo, so not to be confused with, we had ophelio, This is a different verb. It's the verb behind this is ophelo, to owe someone something. So an opheletes is a debtor, someone who owes something. So sometimes rendered as is under obligation to perform, poiesai, to make or do the whole law. Kat agrethe apokristu hoitines. I've got to go to the next page. This is from kat agio. And the agio is a difficult verb, and it's got a range of meanings, whether it's active or passive, and it seems to be one of Paul's uses this verb quite a lot. The arg in here, before it changes, it's kata plus argeo. The arg is really an alpha privative plus erg, so meaning to become inoperative. However, so the root meaning of this is to render ineffective, to make inoperative. However, in the passive, it seems to mean, can also to mean to be removed from, especially with apo. And this particular verse, this particular usage is quite rare, and it is listed in the lexica referring particularly to this verse. So it's something like, you have been cut off from Christ, you have been alienated from Christ. Hoitines, you the very ones who en nomo dikaiuste. So you the ones who are being declared righteous in nomu, by the law. Tes caritas ex epesate. This is from ek plus pipto is the verb. Pipto is to fall, the pipto pesumai in the future, and epeson, and then peptoka in the perfect. So epeson erist, you take the root of that, which is pes. Now it is actually a strong verb, but you get a weak aorist ending here. So you have fallen from grace. You have fallen out of grace. You often get mixtures of strong verbs using weak aorist endings in later Greek. It can happen even in earlier Greek, in Xenophon and so on. Hume ska pneumati ek pistios elpida dikaiasunes ap ek decometha. For we, now the ap ed decometha, decomized to receive, but this verb means to wait for, to await. So for we are awaiting in the Spirit the hope of righteousness, ek pistios, by means of faith. It's that use of ek that we've seen before in Paul's writings. Enga Christo Jesu uti peritome ti iskue uti acrobustia alapistis di agapes en ergumene. Now here we've got this en ergio verb here. For in Christ, in the Messiah Jesus, this is the dative form of course, we get ute, neither nor. So neither peritome, the act of circumcision, uti acrobustia, this literally means the foreskin, but it's often translated as uncircumcision. It's an abstract noun being used in a slightly different, from a more general sense. So neither circumcision nor uncircumcision, iskue te. Iskus means strength. The noun iskus is strength. Iskue is to have strength, perhaps to be effectual, and the te in any way. So in Christ Jesus, neither circumcision nor uncircumcision is effectual in any way. But faith operating, this is this en erg, this is this other word that Paul likes, is the en erg, operating in or operating here through faith. The verb here is energeo, and it's probably in the middle here, operating through love, not through faith, through love, diagapes. Etrekete kalos, tis humas en ekopsen, and then in brackets, te aletheia me pathestai. This is the imperfect from treco. Treco is another one of these irregular verbs. The future is dramumai, and then edramon is the aorist, but this is the imperfect from treco. So you were running. Treco is to run. You were running well. So Paul often has this idea of running in a race, this metaphor he uses. So you were running well, and he continues the metaphor with enkopto. Enkopto is to put a stumbling block, or to hinder, to block or hinder someone in their race. So who has hindered you? And now the te is very awkward, is why it's been left out. And the may here is, it really is like a purpose clause. He's so as, for who has hindered you from, and then pathestai. Patho is to persuade. This is in the middle infinitive. In the middle, patho means to obey. So, so as not to obey the truth, or from obeying the truth, if you wish to read the te here. Now, who has hindered you from obeying the truth? He pes mone uk en tu kaluntos humas. Pes mone, this is connected with this patho. This is an abstract first declension feminine noun, simply meaning persuasion. So that use of patho in the middle is to persuade, and then they formed this abstract noun from that. So the persuasion, understand, there's no verb in this sentence, so something is not from the one who is calling you. So in other words, it's not God that's saying this. This persuasion is not coming from, understood, the one who is calling you. Mikret sume holon top furama sumoi. Sume is the word for yeast or leaven, like the bread rise. So mikrat sume, a small bit of leaven, a small bit of yeast. Now we get the verb from this, with the verb is sumo. So it's an omicron contract verb here. So a small bit of leaven, yeast, leavens, holontof furama, the whole lump. Furama just means a lump of anything, generally of clay or of dough. It's connected with the verb, it doesn't occur in the New Testament, but there is a verb furo in classical Greek, means to mix, generally mix with water. And so anything that's mixed with water, be it clay or flour, is this furama, this lump. Ego pepoitha es humas en curio hoti uden alla phronesetai. Now, another one of Paul's words he likes, pepoitha, it's a kind of perfect derived from this patho. It means to have I trust in. It's present, it's perfect in form, present in meaning, pepoitha. So I trust in the Lord with respect to you, hoti, that, phronesetai, you will think, and nothing else. So I trust with regard to you in the Lord that you will think, you will have no other thought, you will think nothing else. Hode terasson humas bastasse tokrima, hostizione. This is a participle from tarasso, to disturb. So the one who is troubling or disturbing you. Future from bastazdo, to carry or bear. Tokrima, the judgment. So the one who is causing you grief, the one who is troubling you, disturbing you, will bear the punishment, the judgment. E'an for an, so whoever he might be. That's the a here is the subjunctive from the verb to be. So he doesn't name who this, and it's a singular, interestingly. He doesn't name who it is. He said whoever this is, they will bear the krima, the judgment. Ego de adelphoi e peritome eti kerusso ti eti diokomai ara kater getai toskandalon tu staru. But I, brethren, if still I am proclaiming peritome, circumcision, another one of these rhetorical questions, ti eti diokomai, why still am I being persecuted? Dioko is to pursue, to chase after someone, but it can also mean, in later Greek in particular, to persecute, and this is the passive here. So why am I still persecuted? We get this little particle ara. The cat argetai is that cat argio again, the alpha privative plus the erg, and the stumbling block of the cross. So surely, so accordingly, the stumbling block of the Christ, or of the cross, staros, has been abolished. It literally has become ineffectual. It's that cat argio again, that verb that Paul is quite fond of. Ophelon ga apokopsontai hoi anastatuntes humas, a rather strong line here. Ophelon is used in the sense of would that. It's a fixed form here, ophelon. It is connected with that ophelo to o, but generally translated as would that also. Hoi anastatuntes. This is from anastatoo is the verb. It's a anastat. Well, there is an anastatoo, anastateo. It's an interesting verb. It's used of stirring up, to ruin someone, to drive them into confusion. Anastatio, I think, was used in earlier Greek of people who were causing troubles in the city-state. They were stirring up trouble, leading to insurrection and so on. So the ones, perhaps, it can also mean to drive into confusion. So the ones, would that the ones who are confusing you also apokopsontai literally might cut themselves off. Well, it means here that they might castrate themselves. In other words, go the whole hog and not just remove the foreskin, but the entire penis as well. So castrate themselves. So would that those who are causing you grief, or who are ruining you, who are confusing you, might also castrate themselves, to get the full sense of it. It's from apokopto, kopto, future, middle here. Humaska ep eleutheria ekletheite adelphoi. Monon me ten eleutherian es aformen te saki aladia te sagapes to luete alelois. For you, now passive here, for aorist passive from Callio, you have been called ep eleuthia to freedom, brethren. Monon, except that, only, not the freedom. Eis aformen, well, this is again a fascinating noun here with lots of meanings. That here it has the sense of as a pretext, as a starting point for the flesh. So he means here as a pretext for bodily satisfaction, or for the flesh, which he sees as different, the opposite of the spirit. Aphormane has quite a range of meanings. It's a good classical word. It means a place that you start out from, often used of armies, as a place that you leave to attack another army from. Can be used of a ship, the place where you set sail from, and so on. Here probably the meaning has moved on a bit as a pretext, as a starting point for the flesh. So not freedom used as a pretext for bodily desires, but through love, douliuete alelois, I think this must be an imperative here, enslave yourself to others. Hogapas nomos in heni logo peplerotai ento agapeses ton plesion su hosiaton. For the whole law, peplerotai, has been fulfilled in one word, perhaps in one saying, in that we would say that is, it's just in the understand logo, in the saying, you will love your neighbour as yourself, the Ten Commandments. Eide alelus dacnetit cat esthiete blepete me hupelelon anolothetai. Very strong language here. Dacno is to bite. Cat esthio, you know esthio, to eat. Cat esthio is a word meaning eating, but it's used generally of animals. It's got this more the sense of devour or gobble up. So if you bite one another and you devour them, blepete me, look lest, so it's almost be careful lest, so see lest, anolothete, this is an aorist passive form here. The verb is analisco. Now analisco, if you're looking it up, so it's analisco. If you pull the roots out of that, you just get the analo. The omega is a linking vowel, it's just the anal. So literally you are, so lest you be annihilated, lest you be consumed, is keeping this metaphor of eating and so on, by one another. So if you bite, so literally if you bite, if you irritate and you devour one another, look lest, so see lest, it's you yourselves are destroyed by one another. You are annihilated or consumed, perhaps probably is better, consumed by one another. And that's the first part of chapter 5.